JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 27th of October, 2022. So yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session. Yep, where we're gonna have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, a quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our jfdbrokers.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. So, now then guys, let's jump into the charts. Nikkei 225 failed to stay above 27,400 territory and drifted to the downside. So, in a way, I would say at this point, it's really becoming like annoying and not very exciting to trade. So this one, so I would say I'll leave it until I get some sort of a clear, maybe breakout through one of these trend lines here, and then we could go from there. So look, if it climbs back above the 27,400 zone, I will aim for the upside again. I will aim for this downside line, but preferably, of course, I would like to see a push of this above this downside line. But for the downside, yes, a break of this upside line is required. So it's going to be like pretty straightforward here, guys. Not the most exciting, however, let's see where this is going to go to. Now, Shanghai Composite. So the psychological 3,000 mark, it's still somehow acting as a good magnet. Again, I'm waiting on this one, not doing really much here, so just observing the price action and waiting until we get some sort of a breakout here for the upside. In order to consider the move to the upside, of course, we need to see a break of this downside line and a push above the 21-day EMA. For the downside, I would like to see a drop somewhere below this to 2,936 territory right here, and then we could go lower. ASX 200. So we managed to clear the upper side of the range, guys. So okay, the fact that we managed to stay above it, okay, that's great, wonderful. However, as you can see here, the 100-day EMA provided resistance. Now the question here is, can we see a push higher? Can we see a move to the upside? Well, I would say I'm cautiously bearish on this one. Just a second, let me just yeah, there we go. So I'm cautiously bullish on this one because, again, as long as it stays above, somewhere above this highlighted zone here, above that 6,806 zone, then yeah, I'll continue aiming higher. The only problem, like I said, I have is the 100-day EMA, which is currently providing a bit of resistance. So again, this and then also it really depends on how the European and the U.S. indices will play out, because yesterday we saw a bit of negativity kicking in into the U.S. session. So yeah, let's see how we're going to play out here. But again, at this point, look, I'm cautiously bullish. If we stay above this barrier, then yes, I'll go a little bit higher, especially if we climb above the 100-day EMA. If we push through it, then yes, my next target is the 200-day EMA. For the downside, I would like to see, of course, ideally a drop below this hurdle here. But you could already start looking at some lower levels if we fall below the 21-day EMA. Now, I'm not saying that this is guaranteed. The reason why Why this is not my preferred scenario is the fact that we did have those drops below the 21-day EMA, but it kind of continued to oscillate here, and yeah. So one of the other option is to keep an eye on the 6,750 territory, but here you have to have a tight stop loss, and you know, you probably wouldn't you cannot allow too much area to walk here, because a lot of room for maneuverability, unless you have a very big stop loss. But yeah, it could be a tricky one. However, it could be an interesting one as well, because look, if we will be going towards that 21-day EMA, then maybe to start looking at somewhere here could be ideal, or maybe even somewhere from around here. I would say 6,775, 76 zone, approximately around here, and then we could go, yeah, from there. Basically, I would say with the ASX 200, it's a little bit tricky. The German index DAX. So here we continue to push higher, and mission accomplished. So we've reached my target, the downside line taken from the high of the 5th of January. So guys, what's next? Well, looking at the cash index, actually, we can see that we are currently sitting at around 13,170 territory. So basically slightly below yesterday's close, and we're bang on this downside line. Now, can we see a drift back down? Well, I'll say that let's wait and see, because again, if this downside line provides resistance, then yes, maybe we could consider a bit of a retracement here. Let me just adjust a few arrows here. Oh, actually, no, I think I'm gonna use this one for the upside, because if we clear this downside line and we stay above it, my next target is the 200-day EMA, which is near the near these two barriers here, which are quite important. I believe the area between the 13,525 and the 13,565 levels, right here. Good potential area of resistance. Also, we have the 200-day EMA around here. So again, let's see how this is gonna play out here, guys. But yeah, in terms of the downside, let me just get rid of this rising channel pattern here. So in terms of the downside, now of course I'll have to draw this upside line here, and I think that this is where it could come in perfectly. So if we break this this upside line, then yes, I will go to the downside. It will go lower. I'll aim for that initially 21-day EMA. Let me just put this on the chart here. There we go. So I'll aim for that 21-day EMA, and then we will go from there. If we clear this 21-day EMA, then yes, further declines are possible. But again, first we need to see that clear breakout here through this upside line. NASDAQ 100. So continue to hold this area I'm talking about. This area between the this area between the 11,660 and 11,710 levels. So yeah, we can see here, we first of all we opened up lower and we pushed higher, and we've reached that target again, this 11,660, and we found resistance and we drifted back to the downside. Of course, yesterday we had some earnings from the big tech companies, and for example, Meta, yeah, didn't really perform quite well. You can see here it declined. So, and by the way, you can see from the this is when sometimes the technicals when the technicals work on the stocks as well. So yeah, you can see that we got a hold up near that 21-day EMA. We pushed initially higher. So yeah, it wasn't a very good moment for Meta. Google disappointed a lot. As you can see here, it declines significantly. And now looking at this picture, by the way, actually I wanted to pick up quickly. This is a quick detour from all the our traditional instruments that we look at, but I do look at stocks a lot. and this is something that I do separately. So by the way, let me know if you ever are interested in the maybe analysis on the stocks here, the technical analysis on stocks. I can provide videos for that as well. But one thing for sure I wanted to point out here is, for example, with this one, we could be seeing something like of a broadening triangle pattern here. Let me just put this one up. There we go. So like a broadening triangle pattern, and these, for example, also are like a continuation pattern. So the prevailing trend was to the downside here. You know, we have a broadening triangle, and then it could break out to the downside again as well. However, we have seen this happening in the opposite direction. So long story short, you just wait for that confirmation break, and then you do something about it. So, but coming back to NASDAQ, basically, look, I mean, I talked about this, and I said that if we get a hold up here, maybe a bit of a retracement here could be possible. And to be honest, we already had that. So I talked about this yesterday. I've mentioned this yesterday. So so far, I would say so good. It is kind of working out, I would say here. So so yeah, let's see if we can get a nice push to the upside here. However, at this point now, I will continue to consider this scenario here as my main one, but I want to say that look, I would prefer to see a push above this highlighted zone right here in order to go higher, and if we do clear this area, then yes, I will go towards the upper side of this rising channel. For the downside, I would like to see a drop below the lower side of this rising channel, and yeah, at the same time, yeah, if a break through this lower highlighted zone could be ideal for more sellers. Dow Jones Industrial Average. So yeah, we also had a bit of a correction here. However, the Dow managed to remain flat for the day, and yeah, that was kind of, I would say, good. Looking at the cash index right now, we can see that the index is sitting at around 32,000 mark. So basically above, slightly above yesterday's close. In general, my target, I would say, was reached, and the 200-day EMA. Look, at this point, I will probably take a pause here, and I want to see if we're going to get like something like that, maybe like a correction to the downside, and then maybe another push to higher later on. So if we clear this upside line, if we break it, then that's where I will consider maybe a move to the downside. DXY, the dollar index, boom, beautiful. So, mission accomplished. Team, we're heading home. Basically, my target has been reached, the 110 zone. Great, happy about that. But not only that, it managed to surpass that level. And this, of course, opens the door for a possible move towards this other upside line here, taken from the low of the 10th of February. So now the question here is, can we reach that one? And for now, I will say I'm going to continue aiming for that upside line as long as we stay below the 1.10 territory right here. If we break this upside line, now this is where it could turn out to be very ugly for some more buyers, and this could open the door towards that 200-day EMA. So yeah, guys, let's see how this is going to play out. But in general, we're seeing some sort of a curve here, but will it be sustained? That's another question. So that's why we have this upside line here as an important one to watch. If that gets cleared and we fall below the 100-day EMA, the next one is the 200-day EMA. Gold, of course, enjoying the weaker dollar moment, and yeah, we've reached one of my lines here, one of my downside lines, almost, I would say, managed to reach one of my downside lines, and yeah, we've tested it. Look, my next target is this downside line here. I talked about this yesterday and the day before yesterday, so I'm keeping an eye on that one. if we clear this this first one, then yes, of course, like I said, my next target is here. However, if we start clearing the both of these lines, well, this is where I will get very, very excited, because again, this could, you know, open the door towards that 1700 level, or even above that, or even going all the way back to this 200 zone. So so yeah, let's keep an eye on this, and let's see how all this is going to play out, guys. Because look, on the other hand, you should why I'm not getting way too excited yet, because in general, if it goes higher, finds resistance somewhere around here near these two downside lines, and then reverses back to the downside, well, we could be forming a descending triangle, and according to all the TA rules, guys, these tend to break to the downside. So let me just point out this point. Yep. And this is what I'm talking about. So this could be that lower side of the descending triangle. This could travel higher, test, you know, find resistance here, go back down, and then, you know, it could you know, break out lower. So either way, like I said, I'm keeping an eye on this. Keeping an eye on this these two downside lines. I want to see if they're going to get broken or not. WTI oil. So finally popped, and there we go. We're halfway towards my target. My target was around that psychological 90 level. If we clear that level, then my next target is the area near the 100 and the 200-day EMAs, and then we will just go from there. Maybe we will overshoot those by a little bit. Maybe we could test that 93.62, something like that, and then we might get a little hold up somewhere here. And again, maybe we'll form something like an ascending triangle here. So, you know, we cannot exclude any option, but any logical option. So yeah, at the moment everything seems to be logical here. Ethereum, so continuation moves higher. Great, we've reached my target, the downside line. So the question is now, what's going to happen further? Are we going to get a break here or not? Well, I would say at the moment I am kind of leaning towards the upside. However, I don't want to rush into anything here, because again, we're currently getting a hold up near that downside line. So if we push again through it, then my next target is the 200-day EMA or that 1789 zone. If that gets cleared, I'll go further north. I'm going to go slowly on this, step by step, but this is going to be, although I have my big arrow here, guys, I mean, my next target will be this this barrier, this highlighted zone right here. Quite an important target, slightly above the psychological 2000 mark. AUD USD. So, beautiful push. Of course, a weaker dollar, beautiful move here on the AUD USD. We're pushing nicely to the upside. Let's say if this continues to move higher further north, and as I said before, my next target is the 0.6545 area. We're kind of not far from that, and then slightly above it we do have the downside line. So at the moment I am leaning towards that. Again, as long as we stay above the 0.6411, sorry, here above that 21-day EMA, then yes, I will continue aiming to the upside. For the downside, I would like to see a drop somewhere below this upside line, I think. Yeah, just to be a little bit more on the safe side. AUD NZD. So somehow this is working out perfectly. I mean, I said it before, this is one of my favorite pairs, and it's quite technical. Look, I mean, we did push higher. We got a hold up near this 100-day EMA, near this 1.1127. I talked about this level here. I have drawn this scenario. But not only that, we also pushed above this area, and we created this false breakout all the way towards that 21-day EMA. So another great result. So perfect, everything's looking quite interesting, and now everything's looking quite to the downside. So I will continue aiming lower. My next target will be this 200-day EMA, as long as we stay below the 1.1127 territory. For the upside, of course, I need to see a break of this downside line. USD CHF. So yeah, of course, yesterday I will have a lot of USD pairs here today. I mean, yesterday was the beautiful decline for the dollar, we fell below this hurdle. Look, I talked about this yesterday, if you remember. I said that, look, maybe we're having here a double top pattern with the neckline being here. So you can, you know, have a look at yesterday's video. I've called this this level right here, the 0.9916. So I said if we break it, yeah, next target could be around here near the 0.9781. We've kind of traveled midway to that. Kind of halfway towards that target, so we're currently getting a hold up here, and yeah, I would say as long as we stay below the 21-day EMA, then yes, I will continue aiming to the downside. Now for the upside, ideally this level, but if we start climbing back above the 21-day EMA, maybe, yeah, we could start maybe looking at some higher levels here, especially if we climb above the 0.9962 territory. USD CAD. So yesterday, of course, the news came out with the Bank of Canada's interest rate decision. Now everybody was hoping to see a 75 basis point increase. So going from 3.25 to 4, but they only came out with a 50. And that didn't really, okay, that helped the Canadian dollar to strengthen a little bit. However, the question here is actually, was it the Bank of England, I'm talking nonsense. Was it the Bank of Canada, or actually was it just a stronger oil? So yeah, that's a good question to ask. But either way, USD CAD, was it a lower dollar, stronger oil? Was it just a combination of that and not the BOC? So yeah, but anyway, guys, my target has been reached. Look, I've drawn this, I've talked about this yesterday. I said that if we fall below the 1.36, my next target is the 1.35 area. We, boom, reached it, great, what's next? Now, at the moment, I would say I am keeping an eye on this 1.35 zone. Now, these two levels, let me just, the 1.34 territory, let me just remind myself, where is that coming from? Ah, there we go. Yes, so these are the highs of the, the highest point of September, I think. Yep, highest point of September of 2020 and the highest point of October of 2020. So good potential target actually near the 1.34. Actually, you know what? So far, the levels, these kind of nice, beautiful numbers, the 1.36, 1.35, and you know what? I'm going to just aim for the 1.34. See if it's going to work or not, and then I'm going to just go from there. So at this point, let's say like this: if we fall below the 1.35, my next target is the 1.34. Simple as that. I don't want to overcomplicate here anything, because again, so far it's somehow working. So let's maybe stick to that. For the upside, previously I talked about this level, but now I will look at the 1.37. 1.37. Oh, by the way, yeah, 1.37 also was a good target. So a nice good push above the 1.37 may attract more buyers, because also at the same time we could get a break maybe of this downside line right here, and then we'll go from there. USD JPY, beautiful move, and there we go. So we broke the upside line, we fell below the 21-day EMA, and we reached one of my targets here, the 145. So we're currently getting a little hold up here. To be honest, this arrow has to be redrawn and put this way. So at 145 level is something that I'm keeping an eye on right now, because it's a good area of support, previously resistance. So yeah, we might see maybe a bit of a hold up, maybe a little rebound or something like that. However, if this gets cleared, my next target is the 141.50. Excuse me. 141.50. That's what I'm going to be aiming for next, and yeah, let's see if we can reach that. So pretty straightforward. At the moment, I'm not going to do, if you manage to capture this drop here, congratulations. I think this is the moment where you can take a bit of profits if you want. Maybe, you know, part of your profits, and you can leave the rest to play around here. But hey, again, let's see how this is going to play out. I don't really recommend anybody to hold unless you're comfortable with all the swaps and holding costs, you know, like, but you can do the same thing basically every day, just entering the position. If you believe in the further decline or further up move, you can just enter the, you know, maybe even at a better price or something like that. Maybe we get it like a throwback or a pullback or something, and then you can jump in again if you strongly believe in your correctness of guessing the trend. So there's no point sometimes of just holding overnight. You can just jump in next day. But anyway, it's your style of trading, guys. You do whatever you are comfortable with. But anyway, I'm comfortable here with now monitoring the 145 territory. If we fall below it, I'll go towards that 141.50. The US dollar against the South African rand, boom, there we go. Look, I talked about this a lot, and I said if we push through this and stay above the 118.37 territory, 36.60, something like that, then I'll get comfortable with further up move. I was getting comfortable, but as you can see here, it quickly drifted back down. So that's why if you, let's say, if you were long here and you were in profit, this is where the point you have to kind of put your stop loss in place, because you have to put it on break even in order to avoid such scenarios. And there we go. We have broken the lower side of this smaller rising channel. So, and we also fell below the 21-day EMA, and now we are near this 18 territory, so where with which we are flirting right now. So yeah, if you're looking for further declines, I need to see a drop below this 18 territory. And if we go further, then yes, my next target is the 100-day EMA. GBP/USD. So yeah, beautiful pop to the upside. Look, I talked about this, and we've cleared it. So look, my next target, I have it here as 1.19. However, I'll try to draw this arrow smaller. However, I would prefer to initially target just the 100-day EMA right here, near that 1.1738 zone. So if we get a little hold up here, maybe a bit of a retracement here could be possible, something like that. So yeah, at the moment, I am just aiming for this 100-day EMA here, near the 1.1738. GBP CHF. So yeah, looking at this picture here, we have a clearance. We have a clearance of this 1.1410. I talked about this previously, and basically I would like to see a further move here. Of course, I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with the upside right now, but if we stay above this, then yes, I'll go higher. However, I have to mention this might contradict my kind of theory here, but this is where I kind of, I have to show this as well, because maybe this is going to work out or not, but it's for you to judge, guys. It's for you to make a decision, so whatever you're going to be comfortable with. The next option, of course, is maybe, just maybe, we could be seeing here a possible rising veg pattern, so something like this. So according to all the TA rules, these patterns tend to break to the downside, but until we get a clear breakout through the lower side of this potential pattern, we cannot really get comfortable with the downside. So long story short, for now, we will keep an eye on this formation. Of course, I'm leaning more towards the upside, and in general, as long as we stay in the pattern, the trend is still to the upside, and we could continue moving higher. Once we start breaking one of the sides here of this pattern, then yes, this is where it could become more interesting for a few more buyers, guys. So yeah, let's for you more sellers, if we clear the lower side here of this rising veg. For the upside, by the way, if we clear the upper side of it, then ignore any rising veg here. We'll just continue aiming for that initial target of the 200-day EMA. EURUSD. EURUSD, quite interesting here. We broke finally, so I was talking about this, and we broke the upper side of the range here, and now the next question here is, where's next? So I would say even it almost reached one of my targets here, the 1.3715, which just fell shy by a few points from hitting that, yeah, I would say quite okay, quite good. Now the question here is, can we see a further move higher? Well, maybe a bit of a retracement here could be possible, or something like that. So this is what I'm going to consider. As long as we stay above this 200-day EMA, I will go higher. If we start falling back below it, this is where I'll consider a move lower. And finally, EURUSD, we continue to move higher, so great. Look, the psychological one level got violated, and now we are seeing here a nice move, a nice test of this 100-day EMA. So great, I would say wonderful. And now I'm still aiming for this 1.02 level, especially if we push above the 100-day EMA. Just a quick mentioning, actually, guys, before I forget, tomorrow there won't be any Traders Espresso. We will resume on Monday, but but I hope you'll have all a wonderful trading day tomorrow. Don't overtrade. It's Friday, guys, and in general, have a wonderful trading day today as well. But yeah, be very careful in terms of economic data. We do have the ECB monetary policy and interest rate decision today, guys, so this could be quite interesting today, the EURUSD, so keep that in mind. Of course, there will be a press conference after, like I said, but the press conference will be actually a little bit later, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, that's, no, actually no, half an hour after the interest rate decision. So that's all fine. Okay, wonderful, guys. So keep an eye on this one, like I said, and I hope you have a fantastic trading day today and tomorrow, and have a beautiful weekend. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.